the stupidest. We live in the midst of the stupidest. The midst of the stupidest. We live in 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 the midst of the stupidest generation in the history of planet Earth. Everyone is a short-sighted idiot that cannot look beyond their phone and the immediate temptation that it provides for them.
Important just happened, and I want you to understand why it matters for everybody, not just for some people. The Supreme Court, the highest court in our land, just made a ruling about immigration. They said the government can stop people on the street again if they look like they might not belong here legally. Maybe it's because of their skin color, the way they talk, or even where they work, as they are undocumented, not from the United States. The court calls it reasonable suspicion, but let me tell you something. That's just a fancy way of saying folks can be judged before anyone knows who they really are. Now, some people might say, well, that's just about immigrants. But here's the truth. Or is it really the truth? Once the government gets the power to stop some people without good reason, oh, I forgot it is called articulate suspicion, which is law. It's like opening a door you can't close again. Or can it be just like the borders now?
Welcome, 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 everyone. Yes, another fabulous day here at the Fantastical Show. Yes, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time and showing up. Of course, a few shout-outs must go. First and foremost to the Queen of Queens, my queen, from top to bottom. Of course, always a pleasure to have her watch and do things for the Fantastic Show. So that's a big old shout out there. Another big old shout out to little nephew. Hold on, let me get this right. Little nephew in the building. I see you. As always, a pleasure, little nephew. Thank you. You guys may hear me a little hoarse. It's because today was a very, very exciting day on the Fracas Show. I'm a little hoarse because of all the laughing and all the buffoonery that happened right towards the end of the closing of the show. And of course, a big old shout out to Ron from Ron's Opinion Don't Matter. Brother Ron, many, many blessings, appreciate you. A big old shout out as well to A World Away From Here. Of course, A World Away From Here, we must give her a big, big, big brotherly love hug. I mean, we see her content. She puts more content up than other people I've seen, and I applaud her for that because she is diligent in her quest in becoming very, very well known. And I am glad to be part of her journey in becoming better and stronger and much more profound. And I do wish that everyone would take a moment to listen to some of her music that she has posted, because I believe, because if I can find something for myself, I'm sure she has put something up there for someone else. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I just got to fix my camera a little bit because I don't like the way it's looking. So just bear with me 30 seconds here. And I promise to be 30 seconds. Because I don't like when I'm filtering in and out. It's very uncomfortable for me because, of course, you know, my glasses, I'll start seeing things 5 times and I think I'm missing something. Even though I should be talking and I shouldn't be looking. But I just want to make sure everybody sees and understands what I see and what I'm talking about. Now, most of you know that my channel is all about reaction videos. And before I forget anybody, I want to give another shout out before I forget. I have to give a shout out to Little Niece Queen, whether she's listening and or she's not feeling well. I do keep my fingers crossed and I do keep my heart knowing that she's all right. that she's doing well, and she's just resting. Because, of course, everybody needs a day to rest and a day to relax. And, of course, we all know that every day is not a great day, but I really keep my fingers crossed that everything's going well with her as well. Because even as little nephews in the building, I have to always think that she's close by. So I want to give her a shout out as well. So little niece queen, a big old brotherly uncle hug to you and a kiss on the forehead. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, nieces and nephews, everyone near and far, many of you know that my channel is based off of reaction videos. Today's or tonight's or this evening or just in general, today's episode is somewhat a reaction to a video that a subscriber had put up on their channel. And of course, I got the alert. I'm not going to mention who they are, nor am I going to mention what the content was. And the reason why I don't feel comfortable doing that is because I do not want or feel or would like for that creator or subscriber to feel I'm picking on them. Yet some of you may know who it is that I refer to. Now, regardless of one's, hey, Queen, yes, oh, great, great, great. Appreciate seeing you in there. Regardless on who the person is that created the content, as I mentioned, I will not replay the content, but I will talk about the content and I will speak of what the content is. This way, those who are watching understands why this hits close to home for me. Now, we're going to take politics out of the window because we all know Ron, from Ron's opinion, is the king of politics. And I don't want to take that shine away from him, nor that light. I tried it once before. It's a very ugly demon because I don't have sugar on my tongue. And I say exactly what's on my mind. I'm going to say exactly what I want to say. And if I hurt somebody's feelings, oh well. That's just the way I am. So with that being said, I have to let everyone know tonight's episode is going to be a lot of reading and a lot of explaining. Now, the reason why I want to explain a lot of it is because many of us come across people who love to regurgitate incorrect information and say that it's truth, it's factual, and it's law. Now, I'm going to call out Ron from Ron's opinion because Ron is always adamant about government tyranny, right? Now, we understand why he talks about government tyranny, he talks about weapons and the Second Amendment and protection. And I'm very, very glad on how he does it. Tonight's episode is not about politics. Tonight's episode is to show and to speak to those who are confused. And I emphasize, confused about what the 14th Amendment pertains to, who it pertains to, and why it's such a major factor in today's days. What I mean by that, the content creator put up a fact or a notion, rather, or a segment about how on September 8th, the government decided to, I'm going to read this the way I saw it. Bear with me for 47 seconds because I do not want to say something I misspoke on. I want to read it to you guys exactly how the content creator put it up. The content creator put it up as the Supreme Court, September 8th, Birthright citizenship ruling. Now, for those that don't understand what that is, this content creator wants to believe that on September 8th, the government, ran by the Trump administration, has decided to disregard the birthright citizenship here in the United States, which is the 14th Amendment. So what's happening is that I reached out to this content creator because many of you know, or many of you have seen on the Fracas show, on other platforms, I've come in and we talk about how President Trump is petty. And we had a lot of laughs about how petty Trump can actually be. I, too, am very, very petty, okay? I'm up there. So I reached out to the content creator, and I asked the content creator, or rather I advised the content creator, that I'm very intrigued in their content. I also asked them to go into more detail about it so we have some type of dialogue and I get a true understanding of why, in their eyes, they see it as a dangerous factor in society today. Come to find out, the content creator decided not to indulge me in understanding why they had put it in the verbiage that they chose to put it in. So those that know me know that if you turn around and you say to me that I need to go research it for myself to get an understanding of what they're talking about, you can best believe I'm going to research it. And if I come up researching the information and find out that your stuff that you put on social media is clickbaiting, is what I call putting gasoline on the fire, and also trying to organize or make angry a specific group of people that fit the narrative, I may just call you out. Why? Because that tells me that you are not the type of person that is true to heart when it comes to society and people who are around you. Because in essence, we all know that we need to take care of each other regardless of what is going on in someone's life. Because at the end of the day, one thing we're all supposed to do is we're all supposed to look out for each other, regardless of the matter. Doesn't matter your race, creed, color, size, you fat, tall, short, round, titty, no titty. We're all supposed to look out for each other, right? If we can't look out for each other, then we cannot come together. And we already know there's many groups of people who cannot come together. We could all count it on one hand. And of course, with that being said, there's also a lot of talk amongst people of my own background, Latinos, specifically Dominicans, that are always coming to the United States and opening a grocery store. Unfortunately, that is absolutely 100% true. Because even I myself had a grocery store, and I'm Dominican. Okay? So whether you call it a stereotype, stigma, whatever you want to call it, whatever verbiage you want to call it, I'm going to sit here and say, it's true. We Dominicans come to the United States and we create a grocery store. Why we create a grocery store is because we find that people need to get services closer to home than trying to get away from them. Okay? So we're providing a service. Now, coming back to the content of this creator. The creator put the content up, as I said, birthright citizenship. They try to say that it was a violation of the 14th Amendment without really saying it. And I'm going to read to you what the content was, because the content, of course, is verbal. But I want you guys to read something. Or rather, listen, my apologies. Listen, just bear with me. What starts with one group can spread to others. That means that one day it could be you, me, or anyone sitting here. This is dangerous because our Constitution promises that we are all protected from unfair treatment. Yet we are all to get something called due process. Now, many of us saw how Abrego Garcia, they claimed that he was mistreated. They claimed that he didn't get due process. They made a whole lot of claims about how his rights were violated, right? Now, I want you guys to think for one moment. Why wasn't there any Democrats fighting for the 400 plus Koreans that were found at the Kia plant? Not one Democrat stood up to the plate and said we need to protect them. Not one. There was no money thrown at them. There was no legal status thrown at them. There was no big hoopla on the news media for the 400 plus illegal Koreans that were at that automobile dealership factory creating vehicles. Nobody said nothing. The two Chinese people that came into the United States with the micro, and I say this again, with the microbiology warfare weapons, because y'all know who I'm talking about. The two of them came into the United States, and not one Democrat or Republican stood up for their rights and screamed and hollered for them to get due process, right? So I want you to keep that in mind as I continue reading this. It doesn't matter if you were born here or came here later. You're supposed to be treated with dignity. Yet the 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, granted citizenship to all individuals born or naturalized in the United States and guaranteed all citizens. Now, what many people don't understand is this, and this is where the regurgitation hits me in the head and says, these people don't know what they're talking about. If you're going to quote something and you turn around and you tell me to find it for myself, I'm going to pull up the receipt. So, according to the 14th Amendment, the following is said as such: passed by Congress June 13, 1866, and ratified July 1868, the 14th Amendment extended liberties and rights granted by the Bill of Rights to formerly enslaved people. Did you hear me when I said that? Enslaved people. So all you black people, and this is why I'm signaling out black people, because you know I don't like that word. I know I don't like that phrase, black. Melanated is my phrase. But the black people, because the content creator that put this nonsense up, that told me to research it, claims to be black, but yet they're my same color. And they're in my same age group. But they want to call themselves black. The 14th Amendment was geared and designed for enslaved people. Enslaved people. Following the Civil War, Congress submitted to the states 3 amendments as part of a Reconstruction program to guarantee equal civil and legal rights to black citizens. A major provision of the 14th Amendment was to grant citizenship to all persons. Here goes the key phrase that most of you black people refuse to understand. And yes, it hits home because I'm a Latino. And this does not correlate to us Latinos. This specifically says all persons born and naturalized in the United States, thereby granting citizenship to formerly enslaved people. Another equally important provision was the statement that nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction equal protection of the law. So, you black people that are always crying, oh, I can't get this, I can't get that, I'm black, my power to the black people. You're all full of shit. Because you people were given something that no one else was given because of the abuse that you guys received back in the 1800s. So you guys, as they call it, I believe the word is reparations. If in fact the government found a way to say, you know what, we're going to protect your children because your children are born here. We're going to make sure that they get taken care of. Your children have to be taken care of because we abused you, we took advantage of you, we took things from you without due process, without the right cause. Okay, now they turned around and created the 14th Amendment. So now black people were treated fairly. Even as we know, of course, the years later, black people were treated incorrectly. And we're not going to deny that. Yet they're not the only ones that were incorrectly treated by any other means. Okay? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the 14th Amendment, right? The reason why we're talking about the 14th Amendment is because this content creator is trying to say that President Trump is abusing the power to invoke the freedom and the liberties, as they said in the comment, I'm going to read, due process from the law. When the court says it's okay to treat some people differently because of how they look or talk, they are breaking that promise. And once a promise like that is broken, it's hard to trust the rules anymore and words that are regurgitated. Interesting point. The reason why I added regurgitated is because you're regurgitating information that is incorrect and trying to make it a fact. You're trying to make it sound that is good because it came out of your mouth. Guess what? You're wrong. Okay? And if you're wrong, it's time for you to step up to the plate and literally tell people, I was wrong. I listened to someone else that was black, and they gave me the information wrong, and I'm black, and now I'm looking at being wrong as well. For many, many years, people complained about how the police department was doing something called stop and frisk. They went back and forth, left and right, up and down, ACLU, all the lawyers, everybody screamed and hollered, it cannot be done. Right? So now with this content creator created this content with the focus on how it's going to happen to everyone again, that they're not going to get the due process to be checked. Right? Allow me to continue reading. Now, they went on and say, it's hard to trust the rules of anyone in words that are regurgitated. This ain't the first time in the country that this country has made this mistake, which is true. Okay. Now, it also goes on and says, it doesn't matter if you were born here or came here later, you're supposed to be treated with dignity. Right? That's what they said in their content. And again, I just read to you what the 14th Amendment is all about. The 14th Amendment is about those who are born here in the United States, not brought here in the United States, born here. That means when their feet touch the ground they touched was the United States, not Africa, not Cuba, not Spain, not Europe, not China, not Japan, and so forth. You get my point. Their feet touch the ground here. Their first time touching the ground is in the United States. They are given that right. That's called the birthright citizenship. Not the parent, not the husband, not the mother, not the grandmother, not the people who've been here already enslaved for many years. I go on to say, because this is really, really bothered me a lot when I saw this content. And then they turned around and started saying some more stuff, and I had to let them say what they had to say. They went on to say, let me give you some examples. Back in the South, after slavery ended, there were laws called the Jim Crow law that created a system of legalized discrimination. Those laws said black people had to sit in the back of the buses, go to separate schools, drink from different water fountains, all because of the color of their skin. The law made it seem normal, but it was never right. Folks lived under unfair rules for nearly 100 years. During World War II, the government took Japanese American families, key phrase here, Japanese American. Listen, Japanese American families, even citizens born right here, and forced them into camps. But many years later, the Japanese were compensated for their unfair actions. Now, I'm sure that you understood what I just said, but just for those who don't understand how words are explained and heard, I'm going to read it again. Government took Japanese American families, even citizens born right here, and forced them into camps. But many years later, the Japanese were compensated for their unfair actions. Doesn't that sound like what happened with the slaves? Hence the reason why it says enslaved people. Wasn't that similarity there? So once again, the Japanese American people were compensated for the wrongdoing of the United States. Yet many families of descendants of Africa, Europe, wherever it is, the slaves, many of those people still to this day have not been compensated correctly, nor compensated at all. So once again, we're trying to say to the content creator Do not regurgitate wrong information. You look stupid, okay? And if you look stupid and you call me out and tell me to look for my receipts, I'm coming at you with receipts. And I know you're going to read this. And I also know, or hear this, I also know that several of my subscribers are going to reach out to you for the same nonsense that you wrote. So now I go on to say what else they put here. So here once it says, and now this ruling starts with immigration, with all creeds. Immigration with all creeds. That includes me, because I'm a Latino. I'm Dominican. So now you're saying it's affecting me as well. Okay? So, as they go on, it says, but once unfairness becomes law, it grows like weeds in a garden. Think about it this way. Imagine if your teacher said only the kids with brown eyes, no matter if they were brown skin, black skin, Chinese, or from another country, they had to stay after school for detention. Just because some kids with brown eyes misbehave once, is it fair or would it be? So the question is, would it be? If all the kids from every place had brown eyes and all got punished, is that fair? I call that equality, because it didn't matter where you came from. It's equality. Just like many of us grew up, and this is the funny part. Many of us grew up in a household that said, if your sister does something wrong, I'm going to beat you just because that's going to tell me that you're going to try to do something that she did, and vice versa. Matter of fact, if either one of you get out of hand, I'm going to beat the both of you. Because if you try to do something that you ain't supposed to, I'm going to hit you before you even start thinking about doing something stupid. That was equality. That was fair. So why is this content creator trying to make a narrative of something that's actually not fair? The content creator is trying to incite a fire amongst certain people, and I'm going to call it out. They're trying to incite a fire amongst the black people to go against President Trump's ruling of the 14th Amendment and the birthright citizenship, which I have, in my point of view, a much more streamlined reason of why President Trump, is doing this. Let me read on, because there's something else that's going to be real interesting about this. So they went on and saying a ruling like this is punishing all groups because of how they look, not because of what they did. That is why the ruling is dangerous. But is it fair to rule out those who abuse resources, was my question. It tells that our country is willing to combat unfairness. This is my statement. They go on and say we have to pay attention, speak up with facts, not regurgitation. I said when rights are taken from one group, everybody's rights are at risk. Protecting the most vulnerable is what this government needs to do, which is our elderly, our veterans, and our disabled parties. These are the individuals that need to be protected, right? Now, many of us understand this. Now, I'm going to run off of the pigtail of Ron. Ron is always saying that he voted for Trump because Trump made do with his promises to get elected as president. I'm going to say the same damn thing. I voted for Trump because I knew that Trump was going to fight for what he said he was going to do. Now, here comes the point of view on why birthright citizenship is mandatorily needed to know. Birthright citizenship means that the person who was born in the United States has the right to receive any and all benefits that any government, whether state or federal, allows them to have and or is able to give them. This is where a lot of people are bitching a storm about this, because the president turned around and said it's everyone. Yet they did not realize that the president went specifically at specific states looking for specific people. This ruling is not for black people. This ruling is not for white people. This ruling is not for Chinese people. This ruling is not for Korean people. This ruling is for Latinos, and Latinos for now. And the reason why it's for now is because they still have to exercise, as someone called it, due process, right? Now, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, I read 119 pages of the court-required document for the Trump administration to administer this executive order. So you come at me with, oh, go find your receipts. I found the receipt, okay? And the receipt specifically says Latinos. Why Latinos? Because they found so many Latinos crossing the border, right? Now, let's look at what the Trump administration said. They're going to close the borders. Was it done? Yes, it was. They turned around and said they're going to find a whole lot of missing money and unused, or rather, used money unworthily. They found that too. They also found a bunch of people abusing the system by taking that money and using it for themselves. Employees all the way up the board. And what also Trump said? Trump said that once he figures that out, he's going to streamline everything so that the right people get taken care of. Elderly, veterans, and the disabled. Those three people, or those three groups of people, regardless of race, creed, and color, are to be taken care of by the government, whether it's state government or federal government. Those three classifications are the ones they need to take care of. That's the way it works. So now, the content creator that put this nonsense up there, you told me to get my facts. You told me to get my research. Here's the fact. You're full of shit. Okay? Because according to, you said, the content creator said, September 8th, this ruling was made. Wrong. That's not a fact. It's not a fact. It's not a fact. And I'm going to say it again. It's not a fact, because the fact is Trump, of the President of the United States, on application for partial stay was argued May 15, 2025, and decided on, that means the court ruling, June 27 of 2025. Not September, not September 8, not September 2025, June of 2025. So right there, your whole talk is straight garbage, because you couldn't even get the date right. So since you couldn't even get the date right, you're wrong for even trying to incite a fire amongst the black people, trying to have them believe that the law enforcement officer that was going to stop them in the street because they were just in questioning them, you couldn't even tell that I was a Latino. So guess what? I would have got stopped. And just because I am dark-skinned doesn't mean I'm black. I'm a Latino. But I would have got stopped. If I was white with blue eyes and blonde hair, I still would have got stopped. Because I spoke Spanish, or I spoke a different language than American, or English, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, this affects me directly. So I'm calling you out with your nonsense. I don't care what politician or political standpoint you are, you're full of it. Because according to the executive order identifies, and this is the document number 24884, which was argued and decided on June 27, 2025, Trump executive order identifies circumstances in which a person born in the United States is not, and I repeat, the executive order identifies circumstances in which a person born in the United States is not subject to the jurisdiction thereof and is thus not recognized as an American citizen. The plaintiff alleges that the executive order violates the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause. How does that violate the 14th Amendment? The 14th Amendment, as it states, is designed, created for the enslaved people, the child that is born from the enslaved people in 1866. How is this a violation? It goes on to say, in each case, the district court entered a universal injunction. Now, many of you that don't like to read because you're too busy in your phone, you're too busy doing other things, you don't even read the contract to your cell phone or the contract to your mortgage or the contract to your freaking bloody car that you want to overspend on. This goes to you people who don't like to read. Don't call me out and tell me I need to research it myself. Because I'll tell you right now, I was not called a career student just because I am caramel colored. No, because I like to find my facts before I open up my mouth. And before I say anything, I come with facts. And I come with resources and places that you can find it. Because why? Because if I open my mouth, I'm going to say it's a fact because I'm going to give you a reliable source to go look it up for yourself. So page 27 goes, eventually the Crown instituted the practice of delegating the cases that came before the judicial prerogative to the Chancellor for his sole decision. What you people don't understand is all this is coming back from England because as it says here, the Crown is the person or party or entity that took over the United States, which of course was England. That is why they call it the Crown, okay? Not the president, the Crown. So if you really don't know how this works, I'm telling you now, you have to go with the, as I was told once before, the suppressor or the oppressor. I don't know how you want to call it. I'm going to call it like this. The true person who decided what you're going to do, okay? Or the true entity of who decided to say what you was going to do in your life, okay? The Crown is England. The Crown is Europe. That's who the Crown is. So if the United States is still governing the people of today with what's happening in Europe, you need to figure out why that's happening. That's the first thing you need to figure out. Don't try to regurgitate some bullshit that you don't even know who's actually reading it and where they're getting it from, okay? It goes on to say, although the plaintiff sought an injunction barring enforcement of the law against both himself and anyone whose rights were infringed and threatened by the court, permitted only relief benefiting the named plaintiff. For those that don't understand this, I'm going to explain this to you. And I'm going to explain this to you in a way that you may just understand this. Because here's what's happening, okay? As I mentioned before, President Trump said and kept due to all his promises of what he was going to do. As the president shut down the Social Security and vetted it, made sure that there was no 110-year-old person, making sure there was no 165-year-old person getting any benefits, making sure that nobody who was not born yet had no money going to them, made sure that there was no more money going over to verify why Black people are watching anime from Japan. So all these things that are happening with President Trump are for a reason. He stopped the borders, which means now there's no more nonsense coming in. Because here's the other thing that a lot of people don't realize. Y'all want to turn around and say that Black people, brown-skinned people, Latinos are mostly on social services, welfare. Wrong. It is proven that it's Caucasians that are more on welfare than anything. What seems to be the problem is that brown people, Black people, Latinos, women have the belief in their head to have more children so that the government can continue paying them to live in the United States. This is where the 14th Amendment comes into play. If you are born here, your child has the right to receive welfare because they don't have a way to take care of themselves. They are the ones that need the welfare. Not your fat ass because you want to eat Twinkies and drink soda and eat popcorn and have Reese's Buttercups. No. And go to McDonald's. No. You got a man for that. Or you have 14 baby daddies with 12 kids. That's your dumb ass because you keep opening your legs. I don't care if you're white, brown, blue, black, yellow. I don't care. Close your legs. Period. You know how I feel about handouts. This is what this is all about. You guys want to continue having the government give you money through welfare because you have children. That's where you're wrong. If you're in the United States and you're not legalized, because now this comes back to my kind of people. Yes, my kind of people, Latinos and Hispanics, because we love coming across borders. We come across borders undocumented. If you come across the border undocumented, you're a criminal because you're breaking the law. Same way that most of you are driving around your car with no insurance, no registration, no driver's license, y'all breaking the law. So the same way y'all can do that is the same way we decide to come across the border. But now we can't come across the border anymore. So all of those that are in the United States that have crossed the border, the women specifically, because they're stupid, they're tontas, they're desgraciadas, they're incapacitated individuals, because of course that's what these are, turn around and have more kids because the government and welfare keeps giving them money. So most of you that are complaining about this nonsense, and specifically the content creators that put this up there, you complaining and trying to tell the Black people they need to fight up, they need to stand up and fight for their rights. This has nothing to do with the Black people. Has nothing to do with Black people. And this is a funny statement someone told me the other day. Black people need to stay out of other people's business. Y'all say this all the time. Why do white people have to get involved in our business? So stay out of the Latinos' business. You ain't doing nothing for us. You ain't fighting for us. You ain't standing up for us. You just turn around and call us all farmers. Y'all turned around, and I'll tell you like this. Jasmine Crockett said it best. Who gonna pick on the farm? Us black people won't. So she was talking about Latinos. So all you Jasmine Crockett lovers and all you Obama lovers and all you Kamala Harris lovers, you're all full of shit because y'all. This is not your fight. You didn't want to stand up for us when we were getting all jacked up. So get your asses out of here. Mind your business and stick to the facts. Don't try to regurgitate information incorrectly to try to stir up a fight amongst your own people. That shit ain't right, especially when they don't deal with you. So the Latinos and the Latinas that decided to have 3 or 4 kids go to welfare. Welfare gives the kids money, each kid more money, gives the parent more money, and doesn't require anything from the parent. Turns around and says, well, where's the father? I don't know. He ain't here. You black girls did the same thing. The white girls did the same thing. Okay? We don't know where the father is. Why? Because we got more money. Now you pissed off because the government turned around and said, well, you need to get your asses to work. If you want us to give you more money, you want us to continue taking care of you, you need to go find your ass a job for 80 hours a month. Right? Now you're on turn around and say, oh, we don't have any child care because now I got my stupid ass pregnant. Right? So you got your stupid ass pregnant, knowing this is going to happen. But now you want to turn around and say that the 14th Amendment is violating your right? No. The 14th Amendment says, okay, you're here illegally. You're here undocumented. We're going to turn around and make sure that the baby gets the welfare. The baby has an apartment? Okay, we're going to make sure the baby pays the rent where you're staying at, but you got to go get a job. You turn around and say, oh, well, how am I going to leave the baby with anybody? You got a friend, you got a family member? We're going to pay them so that you can take your ass to go get a job for 3 hours a day. Real simple. Cut the bullshit. So if you're going to put out content about how the 14th Amendment is going to violate everyone, because that's what she said. Oops, my bad. That's what she says. It's going to affect everyone. So if it's going to affect everyone, then tell your own people to close their damn legs. Tell the other women to stop. I do want to say something. Plucking every Deshaun, Raquan, and anybody else with a damn beer name or a drink name. Stop turning it up, spreading your legs, and popping out children and expecting the government to actually pay you. Because that's the stigma, or that's the fire that you're trying to create with the 14th Amendment. Start the 14th Amendment the right way. It is designed to attack the Latinos in LAX. Why LAX? Because LAX got ridiculous with everybody running around, burning police cars, breaking people's property, stealing, killing, hurting people. And they all say, oh, I'm American, but this is my raza. Ójele, raza, ande, güey, vamos a proyectar la gente en nosotros. But you're here illegally. Your mother and your father are here illegally. You've been here 30 years. You couldn't find a way to go and get your paperwork done? It specifically states inside this new document, the executive order, your process would take 30 days to become legalized. And if you don't believe me when I say that, watch one or two programs of crossing the border. They catch people all the time here illegally. And they specifically say the courts will expedite their visa statuses to stay in the United States. What they mean there is due process. Due process in 30 days. Okay? There's another thing that I want to read to you guys, because this really, really bothers me. Prohibiting, this is what the states turned around and told the President Trump. Here, prohibiting enforcement of the executive order against the child of an individual pregnant plaintiff will give that plaintiff complete relief. This is what they're saying. They're saying that if you don't give the mother welfare and the child welfare, it's going to stop the mother from living. What did Trump do? Trump turned around and said, okay, you want welfare? Go to work. You want child care? Find a reputable place and we'll put a stipend on him. So how is the state fighting something? How is this unfair to the people, as this content creator says? Her child will not be denied citizenship, which goes back to the 14th Amendment of the enslaved people. It is to protect the child that is born in the United States, not the parents. And extending the injunction to cover everyone similarly situated would not render her relief any more complete, which that basically says it doesn't matter if we turn around and give the child $300 a month. The parent is going to want $300 on top of that. Why does the parent, when the parent's an able-bodied, to go get a job? The parent is old enough to understand what she needs to do in order to create more funding. Why does the government have to pay her as well? That's what this means. So the individual and associational respondents are wrong to characterize the universal injunction as simply an application to complete relief principle. The inquiry is more complicated for the state respondents because the relevant injunction does not purport to directly benefit non-parties. That means that the state, so for example, LAX is trying to tell President Trump, you need to keep paying these women welfare because they have children born here. President Trump said, hell no, I ain't paying them. Let them get a job. They want to break up your city. They want to rob from your city. They want to buy stolen goods and act like they're on Instagram models. Let them get a job. That's what he's doing. I'll send the money to take care of the children, but I ain't taking care of their dumb asses. That's what he did in layman's terms. Okay? But the state wants to say no. No. You can't do that. The money is for everybody in that household. President Trump said no. The executive order is I am to protect the natural born child. Same way as the 14th Amendment says. So there's one other part that I want to read to you guys. And this is what blew my mind. Instead, the district court of the District of Massachusetts decided that a universal injunction was necessary to provide the state themselves complete relief. Do you understand what that means? You know what that means? That means that the state of Massachusetts turns around and said, we're not going to honor the executive order from the president. We want the president to continue giving us all the money in the state so that the state can regulate who gets the money. So let me ask you guys this question. All of you that are watching and all of you that are listening, if I turn around and I said to you, I want to come to your house, live in your house, drive your car, eat your food, do things with your loved ones, but you can't prosecute me or bother me, are you going to agree to that? I'm sure every single one of you is saying, hell no, is this man crazy? What the hell's gone into his head? But yet the state of Massachusetts turned around and said that's what they want. They want complete relief for doing the wrong thing. How is that protecting the elderly? How is that protecting the veterans? And how is that protecting the disabled? If you can have sex and have 5 kids, you ain't disabled. If you can have 5 kids by 7 different men, then you're not a veteran. No. And of course, you sure as hell not old because your tubes are still working. So why does the government have to pay you or give you money because you want to keep having kids? No, get your ass to work. Real simple. The child doesn't learn or does not know how to take care of themselves. They can't fend for themselves. They're just like the elderly, the veterans, and of course, the disabled. So let's cut the shit out, okay? Stop trying to incite a riot amongst the black people when the 14th Amendment was designed to protect those that are born here versus those that were brought here. There's a big difference. So stop being a clown. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm going to go on and read one more thing. The injunctions before us today reflect a more recent development. District courts asserting the power to prohibit enforcement of law or policy against anyone. What you people don't understand is this. When a state decides to go against the government, any federal funding that's supposed to go to that state gets taken away. because now you're telling the bank that you don't know how to manage money. So most of you that have car notes, credit cards, back rent, mortgage payments, don't know how to create it, only $20,000 a year, and you got $100,000 debt. You want the government to continue giving you money? Why doesn't the bank give you money? Because they consider you a high risk. So they're going to hit you with high interest, right? Real simple, right? You want a new credit card? You got shitty credit? Here's a high interest rate. Same thing. But you want free money to take care of the state that you can't even manage the money correctly because you're giving the money to people who don't deserve it. There's one other thing that goes on that really, 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 really makes you say, I understand what he's talking about. The plaintiffs, individuals, organizations, and states sought to enjoin the implementation and enforcement of President Trump's executive order number 14160-2, okay, protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. The executive order identifies circumstances in which a person born in the United States is not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Thus, how spelled, not recognized as an American citizen. Specifically, it sets forth the policy of the United States to no longer issue or accept documentation of citizenship in two scenarios. Scenario one, when a person's mother, this is the baby, I'm going to read it to you where you can understand, because some of you are so stupid because you're stuck in the phone all the time. When a baby is born, the mother is unlawfully present in the United States, and the baby's father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of the baby's birth. Scenario two, when a baby's mother is present in the United States and was lawfully but temporary, and the baby's father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident of the time, the executive also provides a 30-day ramp-up period during that time. You know what that means? For those that don't understand court lingo, I'm going to explain it to you, okay? Because those that turn around and tell me to go find the facts, read it for myself, I'm doing you a favor. I'm telling your subscribers to come and listen to my channel so they can hear what you're talking about. They're going to hear exactly what it's about. If the mother is undocumented, but she decided to have a baby in the United States, the baby is covered by the 14th Amendment, which the baby is entitled to all federal and state monies. The mother has 30 days to get her shit together. If the father is here illegally and unlawfully here in the United States, he too gets a 30-day window. Okay? Real simple. Don't turn around and tell me that what you're trying to incite, this fire, is a violation to one's personal lifestyle. No, it doesn't work that way. When you get stopped by the police officer, guess what? The first thing out your mouth, instead of saying what's going on, the first thing that comes out your mouth is, what is your articulate suspicion? Right there, the cop is going to go into, oh shit, this person knows what they're talking about. Now they have to go back and say, wait a minute, I got to read my penal law book all over again because they said something to me that I don't remember or I don't know about. Don't turn around and say what's wrong. Don't turn around and ask what you stopping me for. No, what is your articulate suspicion? That's what you're supposed to tell them. Why you tell them that? Because that automatically tells them that they are breaking the law by stopping you and asking you anything because they don't have an articulate suspicion of you committing a crime. Now, they can hold you for, as they call it, a conduction of investigation of a possible crime. What is the articulate suspicion? Don't tell me that, because that phrase, that fancy wording, all it says is probable cause. PC, probable cause, is not a viable and a justifiable reason for a law enforcement officer to stop you. They have to have a justified reason. And many of you want to drive, no license, no registration, no insurance card, broken taillight, busted up car that doesn't sound right, drunk, okay? But you want to turn around and say that you have the right to do what you do. No, you're breaking the law. So understand this, content creator, that created this nonsense about September 8th, violation of the birthright citizenship, you're full of shit. Okay? The people who you believe in are full of shit because you keep voting for the same people that are of your color, and they're the first ones doing you dirty. The 14th Amendment, as what you want to understand, is in protection of the baby that is born in the United States to get every single dollar to take care of them financially until they're of age and they can take care of themselves. Not the parent, not the father, not the grandmother, not the grandfather, not the uncle, not the niece, not the nephew, not the auntie, none of them. Just the baby. And it does not apply to the today's society of Black people. It is designed to go after Latinos. That's what it's designed to do, because they want to go after the Latinos first, because again, many of you don't realize that if your Social Security is being paid, welfare is being paid to a bunch of Latinos unnecessarily, they need to find out who they are to take that money away. Just like many months ago, or maybe a year or two ago, a lot of you Black people were freaking out when they turned around and started sending letters saying you got to pay back all that PPP money. A lot of you started panicking, right? Because a lot of you started realizing y'all were going to get arrested. What y'all did? Y'all start running and start hiding underneath someone else's name. Many of you have the baby's name on your light bill. Many of you have a credit card in the baby's name. Who are you to try to turn around and say the 14th Amendment is supposed to protect you? No. You look at me, you say I'm Black. My shirt is black. I'm brown skinned. I'm melanated. So when a cop comes up to me and talking about he wants to know if I'm an immigrant, what's your articulate suspicion? Real simple. What is your articulate suspicion? I don't want to hear this probable cause. I don't want to hear all this other nonsense. What is your articulate suspicion? Which means you got to tell me by the penal law why you are questioning me. Don't tell me I look like someone because I ain't Black. Don't turn around and tell me, oh, because you're a Latino. Right there. See, once you open that door, now you're being racist. Now, you want to talk about violation of the 14th Amendment. That has nothing to do with violation of immigration. Because what you fail to understand is this. Immigration laws are put to protect you, Black people, us, melanated people. Why? Because there's too many people that are immigrants, because it don't matter if you're white, black, blue, orange, green, yellow, orange, yellow. Hell, if you classify as an animal that came from outer space, you're an immigrant. You're not born here, so you're an immigrant. Let's get the understanding right. You're an immigrant. You're here illegally. We need to vet you. If you want our money, you need to explain to us why you want our money. We need to make sure we're able to track what you're doing. If you get a loan from the bank, why do they put a GPS inside your car? They're not just going to give you the car and expect you to drive away. They got a GPS in the car, don't they? To make sure that if you don't keep up with the payments, they send somebody to go get that car. Why you ain't bitching and screaming about that? You don't pay the mortgage on your house. The tax people come over and take your house. Why you ain't bitching and moaning about that? Why you ain't saying, oh, that's the 14th Amendment part? Because it does say property. It does justify property, but I don't see y'all bitching and moaning about that. I don't see y'all jumping on the bandwagon, making content about that. Right? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, nieces and nephews, friends and family, near and far, please understand something. If you come at me on the Fat-tacular Show and you try to call me out and you try to turn around and say that I'm ignorant because I don't want to research for myself, I'm going to tell you like this. I could be ignorant in your eyes, but I'm going to slap the shit out of you with facts so that your ignorant ass can still stay ignorant by being with the people who you believe in that keep doing you wrong, that keep taking the money out your pocket and stabbing you in your butt cheek because you ain't paying attention. Just like I put in the very, very, very beginning of this video. You people who are in the phone for more than 30 seconds are losing 30 seconds of your life because you're not seeing what happens in 30 seconds. And all it takes is 1 second for them to take your life. So don't be mad at me for calling you out. I ain't say your name. I ain't talk about your content directly, but I'm calling you out. Because why? because you need to learn how to stop regurgitating bullshit and start sticking up for yourself the way you need to. Because you're in my age group. And you're in my age group, that means you want Social Security to take care of you. You're going to be considered an elderly pretty damn soon. You want more money besides that $100,000 that you made over the course of your years of you working. The only way you're going to get that protection is by President Trump making sure you get that. But if you bitching and moaning with the wrong information, you just as grimy as all the other people who keep taking money from you. So guess what? Get your facts right. Like you said, read, research yourself. Then you go read and research the information that you get from other people. Social media is not true media. Social media is what they want you to believe. Go get the facts. All right? So with that being said, I'm going to jump off this channel. Of course, my channel is the Fat Chapter Show. Whether you like it or whether you don't like it, guess what? At least you cannot say no one or nobody informed you the right information, because I informed you with the right information. I came with facts. I come with receipts, okay? And if anyone, I don't care who you are, where you're from, if you want to challenge me, you better come with receipts. If you want to know where all this information I got to pertain to this topic that I spoke about, I'm going to tell you like this. I'm going to do you one big favor right now. Watch this. Read those one. Oh, my bad. Some of you don't even know how to read past page 1. If it ain't booty clapping, titty popping, chest bumping, y'all don't want to read. It's in the link. It's in the comment box. Pull up the paperwork. 119. You want the 14th Amendment, or because you didn't know about it, or because you want to turn around and say you were not sure? Okay. Try this out for size. There's the 14th Amendment. And in the very first line, it specifically tells you the 14th Amendment was designed for the enslaved people, the children of the enslaved people. The show cannot be great without the participation of many of my subscribers. And I thank you all for joining me on this rant. And I do apologize to those that never seen me this way. But just please understand something. The one thing that you would know about Jay, I don't take lightly when you try to challenge me to something. You challenge me, you better make sure that your challenge is going to win undoubtedly. Don't challenge me because you don't have the capacity to do the research. And how I know you don't have the capacity is because you challenged me. I don't challenge anyone. I ask for points of view. I don't challenge anyone because I'm not going to insult them that way. A challenge is an insult because you're trying to say that you're better than the person you're talking to. Guess what? You ain't better than me. You and I are in the same age group. We may be different sexes, but we're in the same age group. And I can guarantee that your $100,000 is going to look a whole lot better when it comes time for you to completely retire and you ain't paying taxes on the money that you earned, because President Trump made sure that you don't pay taxes on that. Okay? So don't get mad at President Trump because he's against the people who you keep voting for. Be happy with President Trump that's going to put more money in your pocket so that you don't have to be eating no damn cat food over the course of next 10 to 25 years. Okay? Because you may not live past 25. So with that being said, I apologize to those who understand me. And I thank you for being here. I appreciate you all staying by. Appreciate you guys stopping in. And by the way, for those that are actually in the chat room and listening and watching from before, the next actual video, I'm going to do a segment on body cam, police body cam footage, specifically with people who are drunk. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because people have commented to my comment section and said police don't have the right to conduct certain interviews and strategic ways of finding out a person is drunk, and they don't have the right to pull somebody over that's intoxicated. So once again, I have to go and teach people why these things happen. So I'm giving you a heads up. If you want to join, you can join. If you don't want to join, that's fine. You can watch the replay. If you don't, listen, I understand it. It's okay. Just know that that's the next video coming up. That will most likely be Monday night, because on Tuesday, I have some new content that I'm going to put out. And of course, I want everybody to laugh. So on Tuesday, if you want to laugh, I tell you like this. Monday is a serious, not as serious as today. It's more funny than serious. Monday's content is a little bit of both, funny and serious. Tuesday is 100%, and I guarantee you, 100% comedic. We're going to have a lot of laughs on Tuesday, so if you want to stop by on Tuesday and laugh, it's fine. I already put the content together. I have it. I'm ready to go. I just want everybody to have a good time. And of course, as always, I love you all. Little nephew out the pit. I love you like a big brother. Big old hugs here. The big old salute. Little niece queen. Big old hug. Kiss on the forehead. Brother Ron from Ron's Opinion Don't Matter. Big brotherly hug to you. Big old hug and kiss to the queen of queens from top to bottom. A world away from here, I give you a big old uncle hug because, of course, you're doing some great things and you're moving forward with what you're doing. And I wish you the best of luck with everything you're doing. And I know somehow, some way, Joyce is probably listening and or probably will come back some other day and listen. Big old shout out to her as well. Please understand that the show cannot be great without the participation and, of course, the information from others. What? So with that being said, please, everybody, have a great evening. I appreciate you stopping by. I really, really hope that you all have a great Monday, a fabulous day coming up, a wonderful evening, well-rest information for your own self and happiness. Make sure that you put the creator first, as Ron would say, quoting Ron, put your creator first so that you can actually get that humbleness in your life. And as I say all the time, please, 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 please do not tell your loved ones goodbye. Tell your loved ones you see them later. So with that being said, to all my loved ones, out the pit, Queen Sackcloth, out the pit podcast, Ron from Ron's Opinion Don't Matter, my queen of queens, and everyone else, including A World Away from Here, I'll see you later.